Good evening, everybody. This is the Nomad. Now, in the description of today's little live feed are three YouTube. Uh, Hold on a second. We got to get rid of some sound, some reverb. In the description are three YouTube videos. All right, and you can look them up and you can listen to various different commentators, okay, and various different media types, including entertainers, all right, who are speaking, all right, about the Will Smith slap. Now, the reality is the Will Smith slap, and you're not going to convince me otherwise, was a setup. And it's not because, or that I think that, this thing can't be real. All right? Just to answer your title. But that's not the problem. The problem is that people's take on this, on the assumption that automatic assumption that it is real. Now, we know for a fact that taking the media and taking actors' words for anything, taking Hollywood's word on anything, is a mistake. These are people who are professional liars. And I realize that some of these people may be well-meaning. Don't get me wrong. I think that Shannon Sharpe, all right, and Jim Carrey, these are Joe Rogan. These are people who are probably, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to be well-meaning. But you're not helping anybody. Why are you going to give them the benefit of the doubt? Why should you give them the benefit of the doubt? For what purpose would you sit up there and believe that any of this was not anything other than play acting? And the reason I believe that, there's simple facts that you can't argue with. He walked up on stage and slapped a man, and security did absolutely nothing. ABC did absolutely nothing until he started swearing. And it's amazing how they were ready for those swears, all right, and cut that off in the U.S., all right, to make sure that none of that was heard. This was a setup job, and they all knew it. And what I mean by all, I'm talking about all those Hollywood people there. They knew it. Or they should have known it, because they know what they're like. Now, why did they do this? Why would these guys participate in this? There's several reasons, folks. First of all, let's talk about why the Academy Awards would do it. The Academy Awards did it for one reason only, to attempt to become relevant again, to get people to watch these awards. There was no one that was watching these awards. These were going to be the absolute dismal awards, and nobody gave a crap. And so they wanted something to spice things up. And they got it. They got what they wanted. Okay? The Academy Awards went from 2 million to 12 million people watching after the slap. From 2 million before to 12 million afterward, where everybody started tuning in to see if they could see something. Why would Will Smith do this? Oh, he had no reason to do this, He had no reason, and, he was just protecting his wife. No, he wasn't trying to protect his wife. He didn't give a shit about his wife. He did it, all right? He played around with this whole thing so he could try and get some street cred. He's a bad man. Street cred. He's been lambasted time and time and time again for being, and I'm going to quote other people who said, he's soft. I didn't care about Will Smith. being soft or not soft. I didn't take a look at that way. There are movies that he did that everyone talking about. Oh, these movies were so good. Really? Anybody remember Hancock? He's done some good movies, don't get me wrong. But Will Smith wasn't putting in Hollywood performances, all right? The best movie he did from an acting perspective, in my opinion, was Enemy of the State. I could get along with that. I really could. After 2 years, I checked my mirror for green screens and cameras. Ain't believing crap on TV. Now, his latest movie, King Richard, okay? I know nothing about it. I'm not interested in it. I would never be interested in it, to be honest. Not because there's nothing in there about the Williams sister father that I really cared about. You want to do a story about Venus Williams and Serena Williams? Okay, fine. You want to do something about his father? About her father? Now, I have nothing against her father. I don't know her father. I don't even know Serena's father or Venus's father, and I don't care. Aside from the fact that it looks like he successfully raised two adult children. Children to adulthood. In a difficult sport. And sure, I'm sure they had to overcome a lot of different things. The main thing is they had to be good. And he was a professional, in that regard. I mean, he made them work hard. I'm sure at times he was a badass and he was a dick. And he was very protective from what I hear of his daughters. Kudos. But I'll tell you this. That act didn't increase my chances of seeing the movie. And it's not because, I'll be honest with you, it's not because of Will Smith slapping anybody or not slapping anybody. It has to do with the fact that Hollywood is putting out crap. When was the last time we had a decent damn freaking movie from Hollywood? They're not putting them out. They're stuck in their woke agendas. They're stuck in their mindset of people. Now, that all being said, okay, there are other indications that this was a setup, all right? Well, Chris Rock says, the police said that Chris Rock said he's not going to, he doesn't want to pursue this. He's not going to sit up there and pursue this legally. So, this was pointed out. The police don't need, I believe it was Tim Pool pointing this out. Police don't need the permission to pursue this from the victim. They saw the crime themselves. Everybody saw the supposed crime themselves. There's nothing preventing LA County from right now going out there and charging Will Smith. But that's not where I'm going to go with this commentary, right? Because there's another aspect about this that I really want to get to. First of all, let me ask a question for you guys. Everybody gets all freaking pissy, for lack of a better term, when, oh my God, that person was slapped. So what? Was the person hurt? Joe Rogan goes on to saying, oh, it was horrible. He did this. And then the other guy in commentary, and you can watch, like I said, you can watch it's in the description. Then Joe Rogan says, no. The police don't need to get involved in this. Nobody was hurt. Okay. That's awful funny, Joe. Nobody was hurt. Oh, but it's inexcusable. It can't be in this. I mean, it was illegal. And it was. Are there times when people deserve to be slapped across the face? The answer to that, quite frankly, is yes. As long as you're not trying to hurt the other person, all right, I mean, really hurt the other person, then what's wrong with a slap across the face? What's wrong with getting somebody's attention? Now, when it comes to Will Smith's, he's defending his wife's honor, right? Okay. You can say that. You can come back and talk about that if you want. He's defending his wife's honor. Okay. Really? Was he? Now, as far as I know, this woman, Jada, is a player in the Hollywood scene. And what I mean by player is I'm not making a sexual reference here. She's big in the notoriety, right? She's big. She's a powerful black woman that's out there going to sit up there and take the things by storm. She's an independent, powerful black woman. Okay, well then, where was she? Oh, she gave him the stink eye, so he knew what he had to do. Well, there are times when you're a husband that, yeah, when your wife gives you a look, if you don't take certain actions, you better believe you're going to get or hear about it when you get home. Now, all that, okay, all that could have been real. Her anger could have been real. I don't believe it. She's an actress. Oh yeah, she was upset. She was really upset about how she was being treated. Go out. Go pound sand. Go pound sand. We know for a fact there was nothing going on with this. Absolutely nothing. Don't come back and tell me, oh no, this is all real. This is all real. No, it wasn't. And Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless, oh, he had to defend her honor. Oh, but he was wrong. He was wrong to do this. Oh, this set people back. This goes back to you know, this hurt the whole black community. This hurt the whole black, what Will Smith did hurt the whole black community because, you know, it just played into the stereotype that you know, black men are violent. Really? It's actions like this that cause me to. I'll be 100% with you. I'm gonna be 100 with you. If he was truly defending his wife's honor, a slap like that doesn't bother me at all. If that's really what it was, I just don't believe that's what it was. And let me tell you something, Shannon. Because of my view, you got a real problem on your hands. You're busy looking about how this is all affected, you know, people, the way our community is looked. Well, okay, if you're going to claim that you're part of this community, right, and to some degree you are, because you are an entertainer. Look at what your community decided to do. And I'm not talking about Will Smith. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the whole setup. If you feel like this tarnished the good name of black people in the country, all right, how could he do something like this? How could he do something? Well, you want to know how he could do something like that and think he could get away with it without any kind of social ramifications whatsoever? All you got to do is look at yourself. I think the only person that's here is Sherardi. That's all you got to do. Shannon? oh, this was bad. Oh, this was people don't even remember what was on the Academy Award. Nobody was remembering what was on the Academy Awards before then. There was nobody that was going to watch the Academy Awards at all right, without that slap. So Joe, to sit up there and go, well, these people are celebrating and they got, and they can't get their awards and people aren't looking at their awards and giving them their due. No one's giving them their due because no one was watching it. It was crap. But back to Shannon. If you're concerned about how blacks are portrayed, take a good look in the friggin' mirror. Do you think that white people are looking at the actions of a man who, according to everybody here, all right, was just defending his wife's honor and just got upset to the point where he slapped a guy, okay, who he felt was insulting his wife? If you think that white people or white America is aghast at that, you got another thing coming. Because it ain't nothing like that. The biggest problem with the black community, as far as the quote-unquote white community viewing it, in my opinion, is the fact that when an incident happens, when a criminal incident happens, the white community, all right, analyzes, okay, did this guy or girl do something wrong, yes or no, and they leave it at that as individuals. But when they hear something else from the black community who are defending this individual, even if he was a criminal, on the basis of, well, look at the color of his skin, then yeah, then it does reflect on you. When you got the consolidation of what's going on right now in the media today, especially in the black community, where they're making out that Will Smith, he's a victim. Chris Rock, he's a victim. Everybody black, they're all victims. And what accountability are you seeing? What accountability are you hearing? Oh, I know there's some people. Academy Awards, they're taking away his Oscar. They're taking away his Oscar. Why? Nobody cares about that. They went out of their way to blame Trump. Oh well, this is Trump that's causing this. This is Trump derangement syndrome. They're damaged mentally. Oh, it's mental health now. Will Smith has a mental health problem. No, we have a societal problem. Right now in this country, you have cover-ups and traitorous actions against the nation being committed and have been committed by the current president in the White House, in my opinion, all right? Because the Hunter laptop demonstrates that he was selling out the country for money. And what's more is when good old Joe Biden mentions, well, there are 50 intelligence officials that said this is all just a Russian disinformation game. I want the names of those 50 individuals in our intelligence fields that came out there and lied about this, because you can't trust them in the world. Give me the names. These people should no longer be serving in the government because they were willing to cover up criminal activity by Joe Biden. Or am I missing something? And that includes that Vovanovich, remember the ambassador of the Ukraine, who lied under oath in front of Congress when she knew very well that the reason for what was going on right? In the Ukraine was Biden getting his money on, working his play, working his hustle. And yet Jim Carrey comes on. Will Smith was totally wrong about that. I'll tell you one thing that is true, right? The reaction by people has shocked Hollywood because they thought they could spin this narrative any way they want, and all of a sudden now the narratives were already flying long before he could they could get a hold of it. No, like I said, I understand why they did it. Chris Rock's show, all right, his stand-up shows now are completely sold out. Everyone wants to see him. Will Smith, no matter where he goes, he'll automatically get praise. He'll automatically, because of the notoriety, he'll get whatever he wants. No, the laptop they knew for months before the election. Several months. I think back in June of that year, they had the laptop. They knew already just how tainted Joe Biden was in June, and the press and the media and these assholes who are now all upset at supposedly this faux outrage that they're doing. Oh, these entertainers. Oh, Will Smith. Oh, look at what it does to the black community. Doesn't do anything in the black community. Then you got freaking Skip Bayless, who's his co-host on that damn freaking show. I'm not black, so I really can't comment to what it's like to be black. Shut the hell up, Skip. Do you know what it's like to be an American? Why don't you sit up there and represent America first rather than your damn skin color, huh? Huh, Skip? You freaking bigot? You're as much of a bigot as Shannon Sharp is. Pat the little black man on the head because he couldn't control himself. And if you listen to Skip Bayless on that video, all right, you'll hear it. Oh, he'd gotten into character. He just didn't get himself out of it. This is what I think happened. No, what happened is that they put on a skit in a show to try and generate revenue and viewership, period. You're never going to solve racism in this country when you walk around with people on TikTok, all right, saying if you're a white person, you don't have any say-so as to what was going on with the Oscars. Oh, we're not part of the freaking viewership? We have no say. Oh, you are so wrong. The fact that you think that you can tell me otherwise demonstrates where your mentality is, bigot. That you're a racist. That you see everything through your racist lens, which automatically assumes black people good, white people bad. Black people victim, white people perpetrator. You want to know what's wrong in the black community? What's wrong in the black community was not the fact that Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith. It's the fact that they came up with this to try and gin this up for themselves. And then what really demonstrates was how the quote-unquote black community as a whole, right, there are exceptions, fell in lockstep behind calling them victims. How all the left in the media, including that fraud Joe Rogan, fell right on. Oh no, this is real. This is real. This looks bad. And how could he do that? Victim. I hate to say this, but I'm in agreement with Tim Pool on this. Both of us. This is a fraud. This isn't believable. This was all a makeup job. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton is still walking around free. Somebody who stood up there and actually worked with the Russians, all right, to plant knowingly false stories to the FBI, and the FBI, knowing these were false stories, decided to say, you know what? We know these are false, but this gives us an excuse to spy on an enemy campaign. Because, see, we're good little leftists in D.C., and Trump's coming in like a sledgehammer, and we're not going to like the fact that Trump's going to come in here and try and take away our power and rein us in. Come on, dude, this has been going on since to get welfare. No man can live in the home. All right. 1964 was not the welfare state. Right. There were other welfare programs, and it got expanded. Okay, the Great Society. All right, but welfare actually began in the 1930s. Social Security began in the 1930s. And it's after the 1930s, after these programs, that you begin to see the shift, by the way, all right, in voting patterns of black people, all right, toward the Democrat Party. And in 1960s, however, they were able to marry that up with the civil rights movement by Martin Luther King. And they were able then to twist it and use it to make sure blacks never got off the Democrat plantation, to keep them in a subservient role, to keep them, if you want to blame something, blame Will Smith had an emotional outburst. Really? Tell me why that bothers you. Seriously. That's a serious question. Why does that bother you? You guys have been talking about emotion, and how you feel about anything and everything, how you feel about being gay, about being transsexual, about being a frickin', bisexual, whatever else, frickin', a helicopter for all I care, right? By being about that. It's all about your feelings then, but now all of a sudden, you're going to bitch about this man couldn't control his emotions? Now it's an issue? Hey, Joe, now it's an issue? Mr. Rogan, you spent most of your freaking life doing dope, doing weed. Oh, good, dude. Oh, man. And now I make commentary, man. I just want to be left alone, dude. I mean, perfect leftist freaking libertarian. I just want to go, dude, leave me alone. Oh, man, no, he shouldn't have acted that way. But if somebody sits up there and actually just says to somebody who's homosexual, I don't think what you're doing is right. I think what you're doing is against the biblical verses. So therefore, you shouldn't do that. Ow! Ow! Hate crime! Hate crime! Ow! 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 Not too long ago, I did a story. Not too long ago, I did a story about a black guy who killed a 70-year-old man at a Dunkin' Donuts because the 70-year-old man called him the N-word. And he told him, you better not say that again. And the old man said it again, and he hit him. He knocked the old man out. The old man hit the floor. He broke a bone in his skull, all right, and died. I aim to please. And what did that guy get? This is somebody who got convicted of manslaughter. What was his sentence? Do you know? This was in New York. You can look it up. He got probation and house arrest. And you're going to complain to me and talk about how the view, how black people are viewed in the country. I can tell you right now, a black man is not viewed in the country that way. The black man is viewed by how he acts within the totality of the environment. One of the men I respected the most, and I still respect him to this day because he made a huge difference. And I've said this before, was in basic training, was a drill sergeant, a tall, thin drill sergeant named Sergeant First Class Coffee. And Sergeant First Class Coffee was the epitome of class. He didn't yell, he didn't scream, he didn't rant and rave. That didn't mean he was weak. He was a hard disciplinarian. You know what to do. So that's what he'd do when you screwed up and he saw it. He'd look at you. You know what to do. And you did. Start pushing up. Start doing push-ups. Shouldn't that be about 10 years? To say that he wasn't provoked, he was provoked. All right? I don't think it should be 10 years for in that situation. I do think that a year in the county lockup would have been fine with me. 2 years in the county lockup for that situation would have been fine with me. I think that we get overly ridiculous with some of these things when we call it manslaughter. Did this guy intend to kill this guy? No. Did he intend to sit up there and hit him? Yes. Was he trying to kill him or actually physically injure him? No. Should he have controlled his temper? Absolutely. Let me ask a question in this regard. All right, let's say that we'll play the scenario again. Right? Guy sits up there and walks in, calls the guy the N-word, right? For getting his order wrong. And the guy tells him, you better not do that again. And the 7-year-old goes back and does it again. And the coffee shop guy, the donut manager, right? The Dunkin' Donuts manager goes back and slugs him. All right? But instead, the septuagenarian, stumbles back a little bit and then pulls a gun and shoots him. Would that have been justifiable homicide? What of that? Would that have been what it is? Dude had a dude in charge named Coffee. No. That's the drill sergeant that I had. It wasn't this guy's name. It is a coincidence, though. It is an interesting coincidence. But Sergeant First Class Coffee was just, I just can't tell you how much I respected that man. Of all the other NCOs and all the other people that we had in basic training, he's the one I remember the most about. The only time I saw him visibly get upset, right, and he still didn't really raise his voice, but he smoked these guys, all right, where these two guys talking about how if they were in Vietnam, all right, they would have done this to Charlie and that to Charlie, and they'd have kicked Charlie's ass up one side, down the other, and Sergeant Coffee, who served in Vietnam, sit up there and smoke these guys in front of all of us to make sure that we understood, all right, you do not underestimate at any point in time, nor do you disrespect the enemy. Oh, you had a dude in charge named Coffee. I'm not even sure where Sergeant Coffee was from. He didn't really have much of an accent. He didn't have that southern drawl, and he didn't have that New York, wang, right? The answer is yes, she did. Chris, To answer your question, did the female police officer get convicted and get years? Yeah, she did. But that goes to another issue, right? Take the freaking tasers away. See, I go back to the old school. I'm gonna be real blunt with you. There used to be a no tolerance, a very simple rule about when it came to the police. If the police tell you to do something and you don't do it, then you've escalated the situation, period. Whether you were calm and you said, no, I'm not going to do this, you escalated the situation and they were going to push it. And they had every right. That's how it used to be. If you were running away from the cops in the past, the cops had the right to shoot you. If you were running from the cops, and they had to tell you to stop police, but if you didn't stop, they had the right to shoot you. Now it's police brutality. They didn't have to do anything. The moment you escalate a situation with the police, they're going to use force. They're going to use force because their responsibility isn't your safety. It's not to serve and protect. It's to enforce order. I can hear it now. No, man, you're justifying bad cops and all this. I'm not justifying bad cops. And putting all these rules in place hasn't fixed the bad cops, has it? I just saw a documentary on the Waco situation, where they were interviewing some jackasses, all right, in the negotiator team for the FBI. We went in too soon. We went in the wrong way. We shouldn't have done it like this. We should have. Go pound sand. I'm not saying mistakes weren't made, okay? But you want to talk about the children that were killed there? You should sit up there and take every single adult that was part of that compound and sit up there and charge them with child abuse. They knew what was going on. And through that whole documentary, none of them sit up there and mention the fact that, yeah, we knew that 13-year-olds were being served up to David Koresh, all right, as sex objects for his sexual pleasure. None of them were asked about that. Not one. Because, see, pedophilia really isn't a bad thing according to the liberal media today. To the libs today, being a pedophile should be acceptable. Couldn't the restaurant guy have just pointed to the door and say get out? Yeah, he could have. So let me get this correct. An old geezer mouths off at a coffee shop. Dude swings, mouthy geezer dies. That's an accurate assessment. It's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing what they've done to our society today. If you want to fix the racial divide in this country, Shannon, Skip, then you're going to have to start being honest. And you're going to have to be looking at not worrying about the white community, not worrying about, well, the new Rooney Rule that sits up there and says minorities now are going to, you got to sit up there and hire a minority in the office. That'll fix it. That's not going to fix anything. It's not going to fix anything. It's definitely not going to fix society in a meritocracy. Now, I know that most people don't know this, but I used to watch NFL football, and I don't now. I may get back to this because it looks like they've clamped down at least a little bit on the stupid nonsense. Not completely, all right, which is why I haven't come back yet. Which is why I didn't watch the Super Bowl. But if you want to sit up there and start bitching and talk about what's the racism in this country and the racial problems in this country, quite frankly, before you start bitching about somebody else, you better start looking at yourselves. If you're going to bitch about racism in the country, if you think it's bad, well, then you better start taking a look at, okay, well, what is it that's going on around here? When you promote crap, a.k.a. rap, it doesn't lift up society. And no, I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter if it's a black person with crap, all right, or a white person like Eminem with crap. They aren't doing society any benefits. Slouching toward Gomorrah. That's where we're at. And you'd better figure out a way to try and stop it. But if you're too busy going, well, George Floyd, he was absolutely innocent. Look what happened. They was bleeding down. He was 9 minutes on his neck. 9 minutes and that killed him. 9 minutes didn't kill him. I'm sorry. That was not what his problem was. His problem was drug overdose. Period. And if you want to blame people for why the cops got to stay on his neck, well, look at all the people around him. You want to know what the problem was? Take a look at the crowd. Now you can ask why didn't they get an ambulance there sooner? Okay. Do you think ambulances teleport during the middle of the day in a city anywhere? During rush hour traffic? You're fooling yourself. Okay, everybody. I've bantered long enough. I told you people I was going to be short with this. So it's just, I really wish that people would get off their freaking high horses with this crap, right? And take a look at reality and how it's affecting all of us. What it's doing to society. Because you ain't helping matters by commenting ignorantly about what Will Smith did. You're not going to sit up there and fix something by ignoring what Joe Biden did. Or what's going on with the January 6th committee right now. And intentionally sitting up there and going, well, it isn't like that. If that's all you're going to do, if that's all you're hanging on. They did a freaking story the other day, right? Where there's 7 hours of the phone logs that are blank, all right, on January 6th from Trump. There's 7 hours. Let's see here. What was Trump doing? Was he in the White House for most of that time? Well, we know that isn't true because most of that time he was outside. So the fact that the call log doesn't show anybody called or he got any calls back and forth, that's not a surprise. And yet, it's a scandal. It's a scandal. This is like Watergate. Bob Woodward. Once again, Bob Woodward reporting on it. Bob Woodward, all right, made his name with Watergate by lying about Watergate, all right, and it hasn't changed. And because he's considered the grandiose hero, he's the great hero, he's the great hero of the left. Because he took down that evil Nixon. He did. They got their pelt. They got his hide on the wall. And Tricky Dick wasn't a good guy. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he was kind of an asshole. But in reality, he didn't do anything illegal. What he did, you could say was wrong. But he didn't do anything illegal. There's no evidence that he did anything illegal. And the left hasn't changed. Perverting children in schools has been going on too long. Yeah, it has. It definitely. Well, it goes back to trying to redefine homosexuality. You're a homosexual. Well, why are you a homosexual? Well, because I like men. No, it's not what makes you a homosexual. It's because you sleep with men. Other men sleeping with men, or women sleeping with other women. I don't care what you think about homosexuality one way or the other. But the reality is, you're being defined by your actions, not your feelings. Because feelings come and go. Feelings change. And what's more, is if you're a human being, you can control your feelings. Not perfectly. Not in every situation. But you can control it. And one of the things where you're expected to have total control over yourself, to not allow yourself, all right, to go into a perverted kind of a mentality, is you'd better start controlling yourself when it comes to sex. Because if you can't control yourself with sex, you're no better than the Roman orgies or the Greek orgies or any of the rest of that. You are now engaging in hedonism. And while hedonism isn't illegal, it's not a good thing for you, and it's not a good thing for society either when you delve too much into it. That's everything that I got right now, guys. I appreciate everybody coming out. Hope that you all have a good day. Thanks for listening to me, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.